bill, then the insurance would help pay for it. These are the kind of elements of a national health insurance important to the American people. Governor Reagan, again, typically is against such a proposal.
Governor, there you go again.
Well, it's arguing with Tom and Jerry. Arguing.
I'm Tom. I'm Jerry.
Arguing with Tom and Jerry. Arguing.
He's Tom. And he's Jerry.
So, nice cattail, dude.
Yeah, like that.
I do. Are you getting accustomed to them being around the house?
Oh, yeah. This is JoJo.
Now it would be weird to not have them around?
It would be weird. Yeah, for sure.
Right on. That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, they're great.
Do they fight?
Yeah.
Yeah? They play with each other?
They're sisters. Yeah, they'll hunt each other and stuff.
Yeah.
They'll get all catnipped up, and then they'll get all alert and start hunting each other.
I was wondering, with all of the talk about age and senility with the two top presidential candidates, I was thinking back. I was like, wasn't Ronald Reagan senile when he was in office? Or didn't he have like some kind of Alzheimer's while he was in office?
Probably. I mean, it must have been starting to kick in a little, right?
I think so.
I don't know if he started off that way.
Right. No, he did not. I'm quite certain he didn't. But I'm thinking the beloved like conservative like president. They want to put him on $100 bills. They want to put him on Mount Rushmore. I think he had some memory and cognitive issues during his presidency.
Probably. I wasn't paying very close attention back then.
You weren't?
What were we, 8?
I want to say that it felt like Ronald Reagan was president for my entire childhood.
I know.
Yeah. But it would have been 80 to 88. And so in my particular world, it would have been from the time I was 7 until the time I was 15, which is quite a little bit of a lifespan, you know. Yeah. But I seem to recall, I don't remember it from the time, but just in digging back into it, he just forgot all kinds of things about like selling weapons to the Iranians to fund the Contras and stuff. I mean, he was like,
he didn't remember doing it?
Don't remember any of that.
Oh, wait a second. Was that because he was in like court?
They didn't take him to court. No, it wasn't because he wasn't just so overwhelmed with all of his court cases that he couldn't remember the difference between Nancy Pelosi and Nikki Haley. No, it wasn't like that. It was a different thing.
It was a different time.
It was a different time. Like recently I'm kind of like, you know, for all of my criticism of the W, like I'd take the W right now. If the W was a presidential candidate in 2024, I'd be like, all right, bring the W on. He's the decider, dude. That
always seems like it happens, though. I mean, I heard people say that, you know, I heard conservatives say that about Biden. Like, please, I'll take Obama.
Right, right. Correct. Okay, well then, what's stopping him?
Maybe Michelle will run.
What about spitting? Spitting is like a thing where it's like, it's a disgusting thing. It's disgusting.
Yeah, like Bill. I was just thinking about this, like Bill Romanowski. I was literally just thinking about this tonight at the gym.
Really?
Yeah.
That's ironic. I mean, it's not. It's coincidental. You know. What were you thinking?
So after the sauna, I go to take a shower like normal, and there's 2 shower stalls that are way in the back corner, way more private. and there's like a bench. There's a bench where you could like put your clothes and stuff. None of the other ones have any kind of a bench or anything, you know. So
Okay.
I always go for one of those, and the one right next to it, somebody was in it, and water was like splashing all over the place. And I thought, I don't care, it's just on my feet, and I'm gonna get in the one that I always get in. And so I turned mine on, and inevitably, you know, it's gonna spray a little bit, probably back onto his. And he was like muttering to himself and stuff, like he was unhappy about something. And eventually, he just got out right away and
Yeah.
said something to someone else and went to a different one. And I was imagining, like, what if he was mad that I turned the water on in mine and it was splashing on his feet?
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
was just thinking about how silly that is. Like, you're in a shower, it's just water on your
Right.
feet,
Right.
already in a dirty YMCA shower. Like, and
Yeah.
you would be mad. And for some reason, I thought, like, what if I run into him over by the lockers and he actually, you know, says, you know, I didn't appreciate you, you know, something like that. And I thought, what if he spit on me? And I thought, like, Bill Romanowski. I couldn't hear anything you were saying.
That's why I stopped, because I noticed that you were gone. And oh, look at that one. Oh, well, look
Yeah,
at that one. What a
that's
cute one.
Sydney.
Hi, Sydney. Um, so I was. I've been thinking about spitting a little bit because every morning, you know, first thing in the morning, there's a smoke break at work where several of the smokers are out on the patio outside of work, and we're smoking cigarettes, and the man smokers who've been like smokers for a minute, there's some spitting that needs to happen. You know,
It's a lovely habit.
it's filthy, and it's
Yeah,
like filthy, like no, like even in the old west, like in movies and stuff, as far as I can tell, no spitting might be a
illegal.
sign that
Yeah,
you'd see. But you got to spit, and it's like you might spit like 13 times in 15 minutes. So you might spit after every drag you take off the cigarette. And I was just thinking about how disgusting that must be if you were just somebody who wasn't really kind of part of the deal. And then I was also wondering about, I don't see, like, there are some women who smoke at work, but I never see them spitting.
what's up with that?
I don't know. I'll see the most sensitive men, the most conscientious men who smoke spitting, but
So you
but
think
the
you
women
think
won't.
it's biological, or you think it's
Hmm.
my aunt used to point this out about sports, how she thought it was ridiculous that athletes, male athletes, think they're so macho they have to spit all the time to show how macho they are.
Is that what it is?
And
I
well,
mean,
that's what she said, but I said no,
right.
it's because they're exerting themselves and they're like puffing and puffing. They can hardly breathe. They're drinking water, and then
You gotta spit.
you got to spit.
I mean, I
She
can
thinks it's all for show, though.
I can confidently say that I'm not like trying to exhibit any manliness or have a show of strength or something,
Mhm.
when I'm smoking and spitting in the morning.
Yeah,
It's kind of embarrassing. I actually might like turn my back,
yeah.
you know, and try to hide it. So smoking, ladies and gentlemen, is a terrible habit. It leads to spitting.
It's a disgusting habit. And that's why it was so crazy that a grown man on a football field would spit on another player. I mean, didn't that just like end his career and reputation, like all around?
That along with the steroids.
Yeah,
Yeah. Uh, I
right.
don't know though. If you're eating like, if you're so similarly, if you're eating whole peanuts in the shell, you're eating peanuts in the shell. Those got to go somewhere. And if you're the kind of person who cracks the peanut in their mouth,
No one
then
does
that
that.
it's what's that?
People do that?
I do that because I want the salt on the shell.
Oh, wow. No, I've never done that. It's
But
not
I
a
mean, it's
sunflower seed.
same thing. I mean, like you have all this detritus, you have all these shells all over the place all of a
Yeah,
sudden, and that's not great either. Like if you're driving to Colorado for 15 hours or whatever, then
Throw
and
them
you're
on the
eating
floorboard.
sunflower seeds or peanuts in the shell, you might have like a big cup full of sunflower seed shells, and
If you
then
had an old truck, you could just throw them on the floorboard and just sweep them out.
you're in the old truck and you decide to pick up a hitchhiker and they get in and you have like a big gulp, like
Where are you headed?
full of sunflower seed shells. It's awesome. What about trench coats? How do you feel about them? If I just say, hey, what do you think about trench coats?
I never had one. I bet they're warm.
Yeah.
In the Midwest or like Chicago winter. You
Yeah.
know.
Windy City.
Hmm.
What do you, if you see someone wearing a trench coat, does it, does it bring anything to mind? Do you pass any kind of judgment?
It's so not fashionable anymore that you're suspicious. You're suspicious. Yeah, it's like you're gonna go do a shooting or like what's going on?
Right. Like a body length, like neck to ankle
Yeah.
trench coat. Like, let's just say that you're at work and you're out on a smoke break and some guy comes out during the winter time and he's wearing a trench coat every time. Everybody else is kind of like, wearing a regular coat. He wears a trench coat. Do you pass judgment on
Yeah,
that
I
guy?
think it's not unreasonable to think he could be an assassin.
Or he's just a little off. He might not like be wanting to like kill people, but like he just like
I bet he thinks about it.
maybe he watches different movies or plays a lot of video games or something.
But does he have like a shaved head and is he wearing like combat boots also?
Yes and no. He has the shaved head. And now I'm talking about an individual.
Oh,
And yes, he does have the shaved head, but it's more about having the shaved head because you're bald. You're already going to be bald. You can't really grow any hair, so I'm just going to kind of shave my head.
and is he white?
Yes. He's
Well,
a
I
white
think
guy. I don't see a bunch of black guys wearing trench coats.
I don't know.
Except in like modern Western movies, where it's like, all right, we're gonna have Morgan Freeman be in the Western movie,
Yeah, he could
So
pull it off.
but they call those dusters, don't they? Not trench
Yeah,
coats.
it's different.
Is there a difference?
I think it's different.
Or
The duster's more, I think, more about style and flair.
okay,
If there's more wispiness to it. The trench coat's more like, you're concealing watches and guns.
would you like to? Hey, would you like some Rolexes?
Yeah.
It seems okay, I guess, if you're like walking 25 miles through the wilderness in the bitter cold. But like, just if you're just like getting in your car and
It makes a big
driving to the
difference.
grocery store to wear a trench coat, and then you're walking around the grocery store in your trench coat,
Yeah.
it doesn't.
It,
It seems
in my last handful of years, I've come to appreciate the scarf.
love the scarf, and I'm right there with you. And
Yeah, and I'll
only in the
even
last handful of years have I come to appreciate it.
same here. And it's so practical. Like
Yeah.
even just having it at work, like when it's cold in the office or whatever in the store,
Mm.
I'll just wear it around because it's just extra warmth and comfort. And I imagine it's the same thing in a cold climate, like Minnesota or something like that. You're still cold in the grocery store and going back and forth and getting in on your leather seats and stuff.
Well, A1, I don't ever wear the scarf inside. That's a whole different topic.
I'm not going to say I don't get complaints and comments,
Uh-huh.
but I do it for me.
It reminds me of when I was a kid and my mother would like bundle me up to walk to school or whatever in the cold. And I'd be like, I don't like it, and she's like, well, it doesn't matter what you look like. It just matters, how that you're warm. And I
I
never
think
really I never really bought into that
I think
as a child.
I think in wearing it indoors, it also functions as like a security blanket.
Yeah.
Kind of like, have you ever worn earplugs to bed?
No.
It's even if it's not loud, it does something. It's almost like a blanket
Yeah.
for your head.
Yeah. That's fair. Sonny Boy Williamson that I'm listening to tonight, and that's Chess Records. Chess Records for those of you who've been.
Chess,
Yeah, for those of you who've been
chess.
following around. Yeah. Do you like chess? I was talking to a friend the other day, and they said something, and I didn't really catch the entire reference, but they said something about a Jewish thing where like they have to say no 3 times. Does that ring a bell?
Well, I think they might be referring to turning away a potential convert, a wannabe convert,
Mm.
uh, being turned away 3 times to show, how serious are you?
Okay, so I want to be Jewish, and in order to prove that I want to be Jewish, I have to be turned away 3 times. That's what that means.
I think it's just something that you will find happens in the process oftentimes. I don't know that it happens to everyone, but I've heard that it is a a thing that can happen.
Is that common in other religions? I wonder. Like if I went down to like there's a Jehovah's Witness church across the street from my home, and I wonder if I walked over there on a Wednesday afternoon when they're having a big service or whatever, if I was like, I want to be a Jehovah's Witness, they'd say, you know, thanks but no thanks. Come back
You would
again next Wednesday.
you would think there'd be some kind of vetting
Hmm.
process in most of them.
In most clubs, you don't just walk in and say you want to be a part of it. You got to kind of prove yourself,
Yeah, I would think they would want to know who you are and that you're serious and that you're not there to like be destructive.
or that you're like a spy or something.
Yeah.
Hmm. But what if I dressed like them and I looked like them and I was like, hey, I just moved here from Hoboken, and I'm just looking for a new place to be. I mean, how do they validate that you're not already part of the club?
Who's they?
Let's say in this case, it's the Jewish temple or whatever
Oh,
they call it.
they'll,
They have like a
you will
big they
give
have like a
yourself away.
list of all the people who are part of the club, or you might
Yep.
just walk up and you're wearing all the stuff and you're like, hey, I just moved here from Hoboken and I want to be part of the club.
Won't make any difference. In a matter of minutes in just normal conversation, they'll know right where you're at.
But what if you're really well studied and you know all the ins and outs, you know all the traps, you know all the questions, then you might be able to kind of
And you're
weasel your
trying
way
to
in.
pass yourself off as Jewish, but you never
Yes.
converted.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they'll ask you a couple questions. They all know each other at the high levels.
Mm-hmm.
That's not even a joke. That's not a
They
joke at
all
all.
know each other.
Yeah, they have conferences. The rabbis know each other, and if they don't know that someone specifically, they know someone who does. They
And
would
if you
find out.
said you were from Hoboken, they're going to call all the rabbis in Hoboken and be like, "What about Jerry?
Yep,
Jerry says he just came here from Hoboken." They'll be like, "I've never heard of that mother."
exactly.
Right?
Yeah,
Dig it.
or vice
Okay.
versa. They'll be like, "Yeah, he's great. He studied all the time. He's ready."
Right. But on the other hand, if you went to the mega church, like the Church of the Harvest, and you were like, "Hey, Mister Austin, I'd like to be a member of the church," he's probably not going to like do the background research to make sure that you are indeed like a crazy evangelical.
No, but they're different things. I mean, I
Why are
mean,
they
some
different?
some religions you just merely state like, "I want to be a Hindu."
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that you just do. You just start. You just do. You say you are, and so you are. I think.
Okay.
In Islam, I think you say something a couple of times, or maybe with a couple of witnesses. But in Judaism, it's very organized. There's a very specific process. Depending on where you are in the country, there's a specific place where you have to go and you get in the mikveh and you've got your witnesses and stuff, and that's the end of the journey, I think. And once you come out of the water, then it's done.
Okay. And they'll say he's no longer part of the Klippa.
Right. I knew a guy who, back to that turn away 3 times thing, he said when he was on his way into the water, one of his witnesses, he looked over at him and he was looking back at him going like this.
What's that mean?
Don't do it.
Oh, really?
Don't do it. Yeah.
Don't join. I mean, it has something to do with some sort of fairy tale somewhere, like where, Noah said 3 times, but Noah asked to build the boat, and God said, nope, you cannot build the boat. And then Noah said, but I'd really like to build the boat. And God's like, no, I don't know. I
Oh,
don't think you're ready to
you think
build the
they could
boat.
probably trace it back to the written word someplace for the source of the justification of doing the 3 turning aways.
3 is the magic number, said De La Soul, or maybe it's Tribe Called Quest. I can't remember, but I think it's De La Soul. But it was a Schoolhouse Rock thing, right?
I thought that was 3 Dog Night. Oh
Um,
no, that was 1.
1 is the loneliest number, and
Yeah,
three is the magic number.
yeah.
And there's probably one about 2 as well. But after that, it's like they don't really sing many songs about things above 3. Like there aren't like songs about 4 and
Yeah, exactly. You go 1, 2, and 3, and then like after that they all start to run together, all the numbers.
right. I mean, there aren't like a bunch of songs about 4 or
No,
or 8. I mean, there's Revolution number 9.
right?
Um, and I'm sure there are specific examples about 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, but 1, 2, and 3 probably have quite a few more songs about them
Well,
than 5.
The Sesame Street song went all the way up to 12.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Do, 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 do. But yeah, I was talking to a friend the other day, and they were telling me that if somebody makes an impassioned argument, then it makes them want to support the other side.
Mm-hmm. Can work that way.
I think so.
Come on too strong.
Hmm.
It could be really telling,
It
you
can
know,
be,
depending on who you're talking to and
right?
the point that you're pushing, you know, depends. That context would be huge there, like it
I don't,
always is, I guess.
I don't have any examples or anything to point to, but it rang true to me that
Yeah,
if somebody is really passionate about something, it might make you intuitively kind of like look to the
red
other
flag.
side of it. Yeah, that's a little bit of a
Hmm.
red flag. Yeah, red flag. Red flag is a great concept to hold tight to in all of your dealings. I think with human beings and situations is like this is a red flag.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely can understand that. I've definitely been on the red flag causing side for sure in my days. That's no doubt about it. Now,
Somebody's been like,
then,
that guy's a red. That's a red flag there. The way Jerry was talking about this is like,
yeah, because if you, I mean, we're kind of like on a religious topic, but I mean, if you felt like you really, I guess it depends on, some people think that it's like their job or their mission to, I mean, look what Christians do. They go around the world like on missions,
mhm.
literally trying to convert people to their belief, but they're not doing it by violence or anything, but it's pushy. It's pretty
Mhm.
pushy to go to another country and try to educate the locals. It's kind of like what we were talking about at the end of the last episode. Pushing your religious philosophy on a culture that already probably has one. But what's the goal? Is the goal some kind of unknown truth like in this case, that's probably what they think it is. Or is the goal to find some kind of internal peace?
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then there's probably, like in Hinduism, one of the core tenets is that they say all paths are valid.
To get
They
to
don't,
the ends justify the means.
because the whole goal is, I think I think I might kind of have this right. I think one of the major goals of Hinduism is self-realization. Peace. Like once you realize that you have divinity within and without you, so does everyone else, so does everything else. And so therefore we should all treat each other with that kind of respect, because we're all in the big boat together. The boat is God, is the creative force. And so everyone should be peaceful to each other. And
Well, if you're too passionate about it, then it might make the converts
yeah,
like be a little bit skeptical.
exactly. When's the last time a Kabbalist knocked on your door and tried to convert you, or a Hindu?
Hmm.
I mean, those are
They
people who
don't.
are just like, they're like, I know what the truth is, and
Right.
it's for me to live accordingly with,
And
and
if
be
you
a
want
good
to come, if you
person.
want to come find it, then you can find it.
Yeah,
Rather than me knocking at your door and telling you
yeah.
that the end times are coming, and
Re,
don't you
re,
feel don't you feel sad about the world, and here's a magazine with a lion laying next to a giraffe, laying next to a dog, laying next to a human baby, and this demonstrates our message. I think it's a little bit far fetched, personally, that the lions and the rabbits and everybody's lost all like instinct to hunt and devour and survive.
like the caste system it was supposed to be like, find what you're good at and go do that, and teach your kid how to do that. And everyone can work in this cog and make the whole thing work if we all can find, where we can excel and do that. But then it became an entrapment. And then if you were born into it, you were just stuck there. But the
If
original
this
idea being, if you're a lion, go hunt, go be a lion.
Mhm,
You know, if
right.
you're a peaceful sheep, go be a peaceful sheep in a meadow. You don't have to hunt and be a lion. You're not a lion. It's okay. Those are good things. I mean, everyone can relate to that kind of stuff. You don't have to try and be a Wall Street executive.
Hmm.
You can go be a potter.
Right. Well, but I was talking with a friend today, and we were talking about working from home, and we were talking about how it's like kind of it creates an inherent caste system, right? So the big dog executives of the companies, like, working from home needs to stop. You guys need to get your asses back to the office. We need to start working back in the space, and they're crying about it. Work needs to fit inside of my life, and my life will dictate when I'm available for work.
Mhm.
And that's all fine and dandy, but not everybody has the luxury of that kind of situation. So, like, do those people go get coffee or a burrito, or, you know, buy a package of beer from the liquor store, or ask a plumber to come clear their main line? Or, it's like the majority of workers don't have the luxury of deciding that their exercise class is at this time every day, and then work fits in between that, and then I'm going to work from home,
Oh yeah,
and
I remember back on, framing houses, in my late teens, early 20s. You're screwed. I mean, from sun up to close to sundown, and then banks are closed and things are closed. There's certain things you could only do like on the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
because you're at work all day.
Yeah. And
You don't have time to run errands.
but that's kind of like what work is. And it's we've created some sort of kind of artificial space through COVID, that it's acceptable and okay. Work fits inside of your life. Your life doesn't fit inside of your work.
I
You
think
know.
it's just a symptom of a bigger picture of us, entering into or being in the early stages of or coming up on the age of Aquarius,
You think
where,
so?
yeah, where Aquarius is,
I thought that already passed, and we're in a different one. No, we're in the middle of it.
I don't, I don't think we're in the middle. I think some people say that maybe we're in it. Some people say it's coming up. Some people
Okay.
say it's just barely in it. But, uh,
How
the things,
long is it?
the things about Aquarius, I
How
think it's
long
like
does the
2,200 years or something like that.
Oh, Jesus, man, that's a long time. Okay, so that's a long time. So yeah, we may just be getting into it. It might have started, maybe it might have started with in 1967, and now we've got 2,200 years of the age of Aquarius,
Well, and that means that the previous 2,200 years, the previous age would have been the age of Pisces, and
right?
the symbol is the fish, which is a big Christian symbol. We've had about 2,000 years of Christianity, fish on
And
cars and stuff.
what does Aquarius mean?
Aquarius is supposed to be like really out of the box thinking, non-traditional relationships and technology based. All really into the latest technology. I know, for real.
Huh?
Like an Aquarius person that supposedly is real unorthodox when it comes to traditional relationship type ideas.
Mhm.
Out of the box thinking, really into technology.
I'm gonna
Maybe
have seven
maybe they
wives, and
read
I'm gonna
popular
work on the
mechanics.
internet.
Huh?
Like I'm gonna have seven wives, and I'm gonna work on the
It
internet.
doesn't have to be like that. It doesn't have to be that extreme.
Well, I
It
mean,
might
but
just it might just mean like they don't follow the maybe they break the mold that's been the traditional family norm of like,
we've
getting
got
married
we've got 2,200 more years of this.
for the whole, yeah, global society.
And then what happens after that? What's the next one?
It would be Capricorn.
And then what do they do?
Capricorn's supposed to be all about discipline, strict, ruled by Saturn. It's the darkest time of the year. Discipline, organization, no nonsense, severity.
Like a podcast that relies on sarcasm and stuff probably wouldn't be very popular in
In the age of
the age of
Capricorn,
Capricorn.
probably not. But in the out of the box thinking of Aquarius, it could do just fine. And if you go back the other way, before the age of Pisces would have been the age of Aries, which is
That would
the
have been
ram.
like the Egyptians and stuff.
I wonder if that would have been more like Taurus. I think about that this theory and the previous ages and the things that you think of like symbols and like Taurus was the bull and that would have been the previous age before Aries. And it's kind of amazing when you think about the symbols that you see and archaeological finds and stuff and ancient cultures and stuff. Like, why did they venerate the bull, the cow? What was with the cow?
Because they lived in that age.
Maybe.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how it all works together. And it's not like any of this stuff like hits a wall and then all of a sudden it's just a change.
Right,
It
right,
just
right.
blends and becomes the next thing.
For 2,000 years.
Something like that.
It seems weird that man would have created a system that only flipped every 2,000 years. I mean, I don't know.
Well, then there's the big age is like 26,000 years. When you go around the whole thing.
Uh-huh. But that would be
I mean, I'm not making these things up. These are things
I
like
know.
Plato talked about this, I think, and like people have This is stuff you can find in
That's
history.
13, but that would be like 13 months.
Some people say there are 13 months.
I just once again find it strange that man would create a system, a belief system that only like kind of spun around every 2,000 years. I mean, it seems kind of ineffective.
I don't think
I mean,
man.
what am I going to do?
I don't think
What am
people
I?
just.
I'm 1,000 years into the age of Aquarius, and you know, like maybe I prefer Capricorn or Pisces or whatever the scales, whatever that one is. Like,
Yeah, Libra. You can hang out with those people who have those astrological leanings within each age.
have
We're
it.
talking ages now. The ages go backwards through the circle, but like
Okay.
as the seasons go, it's the opposite. You know,
Okay.
we're coming up on Pisces. Ironically, we're in Aquarius now,
Hmm.
and we're coming up on Pisces, and then it'll go into Aries, and then Taurus and Gemini, and
Oh, I see. So there will be different ages within the season, or different seasons within the
well,
ages.
you could look at it like that. You could look at each month as a little mini age. Why not?
Welcome to the